Okay, here's the deal, guys. I want to go dirt bike riding, and it's getting a little bit cold being November, and the last couple times I've taken my trailer out, I woke up in the morning and my heater's no longer running and the battery is completely drained. So I went online to a solar calculator. Nice little tool. I recommend you go take a look at it. I'll leave a link to that website in the description box below. But take a look at what your draw is for the batteries that you have. I was kind of surprised. I put in all the details of my power usage, and I was a little bit conservative, but what came up with was in a heavy load case, cold day, running the lights, that I'm drawing about 105 amps. And this Genesis Supreme trailer I have, I got it with one battery in it, and it's a 75 amp hour battery. So you only get about 50% life out of those batteries before you start doing damage. So I only have about 37, 40 amps that I can draw. So definitely I'm overtaxing that, and I probably did damage that battery. So there's two things you can do to solve this problem. One is to get more power by upgrading your battery capacity. There's several ways to do that. And the second one is to reduce your draw on the battery, and you do that by either using items less or changing out items in the trailer that draw the most power. Okay, in this video we're going to be addressing the power side of the equation to extend our dry camping time. Like I mentioned earlier, we're running out of power in this trailer, so we're going to upgrade the battery system. We bought this used, and the guy just put a 12 volt 75 amp hour battery in this. It is a sealed lead acid battery. You basically have three choices for a trailer. You have a open or flooded lead acid battery where you have to maintain the water levels in it. Those are the most inexpensive batteries you can buy. Then the next ones are sealed lead acid batteries or AGMs. Actually, these two here are AGM type batteries. AGMs are sealed. There's no place to add fluid to them. Nice thing about those is they can be no maintenance, and they can be mounted on their side or back any angle, where the flooded batteries have to be mounted upright. Your third option for a battery, oh yeah, AGMs are a little bit more expensive than flooded batteries also. The third option is a lithium phosphate, iron phosphate battery. Mouthful. And they're the most expensive batteries, but if you install them properly, they will last the longest, and there's a lot of advantage to a lithium battery in the fact that it charges quicker. You can draw it down further. A lead acid battery, if you draw more than 50%, you really reduce the life of the battery. Whereas in a lithium, you can draw it all the way down to 20% battery life, and it has programming inside of it, a BMS system that protects the battery from damage due to mischarging. Okay, voltage. So the trailer is a 12 volt system, so we got a couple options. It came with one battery, 75 amp hours, 12 volts. I could upgrade that battery to 100 amp hours with the 50% usage would give me 50 amp hours of usable power, which according to my calculator is not going to be enough for us to heat this trailer and run lights. So option two would be to put two 12 volt batteries in parallel. When you put batteries in parallel, you double the amp hours capacity. So if I got two 100 amp hour batteries, I would get 200 amp hours, two 12 volt batteries. I'd get 200 amp hours, so I'd have about 100 amp hours. So I'd be really close to what I'm eventually going to need to run this trailer. The other option is to go with 6 volt batteries. The 6 volt batteries are a little better designed for a deep cycle battery. They have a longer life. They're really designed to be drawn down. A lot of times they use them in golf carts, marine applications. That's what I decided to go with, these NPP 225 amp hour 6 volt deep cycle batteries. And when you have 6 volts, you wire these in series, and that gives you your 12 volts. When you wire in series, you don't double the amp hours, so you stick with the 225 amp hours, and that'll give me about 110 to 115 amp hours of power, which when I reduce my load on this, I think will work really good for us in getting 2 to 3 nights of dry camping out of the trailer. Your other option, lithium ion, same thing. Lithium ion, you would go with a 12 volt. Typically, those are 12 volt, but you could do 12 volts in parallel or 6 volts in series. All right, so this is the original setup. I've unhooked my solar charger from this for my load testing, but the guy that sold me the trailer put this 12 volt battery in there, but he did build a box big enough for two 12 volt batteries. Part of the reason I bought AGM 6 volt batteries was because I thought I was going to have to turn them sideways to sit in here, but now that I got them, I think that they will fit side by side, so we'll check that out and see if it works. Okay, so my 12 volt battery and my battery holder is on the outside. It's one of the things you need to know. Lead acid batteries are fine being stored outside. If you're doing flooded batteries, they have to be outside because they give off poisonous gases when they charge. So they definitely have to be outside, plus the fact that you have to get at them to maintenance them. If you're using flooded lead acid battery, you should be checking it monthly to make sure that your electrolytes are up to the right levels. If you let the water get down too low, it will also damage your batteries. AGMs can go out here also. They're fine with temperatures. One of the main downfalls of a lithium-ion battery, or one of the few drawbacks with it, is you don't want to store it outside, especially if you're doing any kind of cold weather camping, because it does not charge in cold weather. The BMS shuts it off and you can't charge it. So if I was doing a lithium-ion system, I would move it in here inside this compartment of my trailer, but I selected the AGMs. I'll start with those outside. I also have the flexibility of moving those inside. And for me, I'm not very good at maintenance, so the AGM also is going to save me the time, because I'm pretty sure that I would forget to check my flooded batteries and do damage to them. So that gives you a little bit of knowledge about the 3 different kinds of batteries. Hope that helps you out. All right, so we dropped those batteries right in, and they fit pretty good inside of here. That was a good surprise. So basically what I've done is taken 2 6 volt cells and I connect them in series. So from the negative terminal of the first one to the positive terminal of the second one. And overall that gives me one big 12 volt battery when I measure across there. So we'll go ahead and just check that out, make sure I've done it all correctly. Read that, that's 6.55 volts. Oops. And then going clear across both battery terminals, 13.17 volts. So 2 good fresh batteries all lined up there and secured in place. So now I'll just go ahead, bring my positive cables, route them around here along with my solar charger, and then my negatives will go over there and we'll button her all up. Okay, that wraps up the installation. I've hooked my positive cable up, my negative cable up, my solar charge controller hooked up. So that's 2 6 volt batteries in series, upgrading from 75 amp hours to 225 amp hours should extend my dry camping ability. If you found this video useful, go ahead and hit that like button. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe and notifications if you want to see future videos from me. And thanks for all your support. God bless.